right, guys, welcome back to another edition of the Addictively Speaking podcast. I am joined tonight by Amanda Joy Harrison. She is the director at the Northern College of Clinical Hypnotherapy and clinical hypnotherapist and speaker as well. So, thank you for joining us, Amanda. I appreciate your
Oh,
time
thank
here.
you for having me. It's lovely to be here. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, I'm quite interested now that we got talking before about the hypnotherapy bit, but I'll let you go into your details. Like you tell everybody who you are, where you're from, what you do, and yeah, we'll just go from there.
Well, who am I? It's one of them questions, isn't it? I'm a happy, jolly person. This week I bought a wedding dress. That's exciting.
That is
Um,
exciting.
I have a dog he's just a big, snuggly, soft, gorgeous thing, and I'm in a most beautiful relationship. I am self-employed. I'm the Director of Studies here at the Northern College of Clinical Hypnotherapy, which means that not only do I help people in terms of working with them one-to-one in my private practice, but I actually tutor, I teach people how to become clinical hypnotherapists. And the reason that I do the teaching side of things is because at the beginning of the pandemic, 2020, March 2020, people's mental well-being started becoming really impacted by what was happening in the world around
Yeah,
us. And
absolutely.
my private practice went crazy. I transitioned from an in-person, face-to-face, traditional come and lie on my couch kind of practice. We'll do some hypnosis to very much like working like this.
Right.
And I
Okay.
realized that gave me lots more freedom and time, actually. And also, I wanted to like only work with a number of people in a day, and I set up some support groups for people in recovery during the lockdown, because one of the challenges with lockdowns and with the decisions that the government took to help with health, one of the challenges of that were that at some points during the pandemic, you could go to the pub, but you couldn't go to a supportive group that would help you with addiction. You could go to the off license and buy whiskey and vodka and cigarettes, and I'm pretty sure you could get a deal with a dealer, but you couldn't go to a support group and get and sit in a circle and get that
Yeah.
community, that fellowship, that connection with people. And so people were struggling, and I set up let's just do a little like group session of hypnosis, and had over 400 people join within just a number of weeks, and
Wow.
realized there's only one of me. There needs to be more people who are trained to do this. And I'd always wanted to teach, and my background is in teaching and nursing. So I'd always wanted to teach, and it was like a calling. Get off your butt, do it now. I'd written a course in the winter of 2019. And so it was kind of just sitting there ready. It was the right time. I rolled out the course as a bit of a taster. Let's see where this goes, see if it's something I can do. And it won awards. It became multi-accredited. It was a bit surprising how incredible it was. Really well received by the different associations and bodies and awarding bodies and accrediting bodies and professional associations, hypnotherapy associations. And it grew and grew and grew, and now we have multiple locations throughout the UK. We teach online, we teach in person, and we have a clinic as well that is run by students, where people can come for more reduced cost interventions to get support that they need for whatever it is that they're going through. And we work with them in multiple areas. But my area that I'm really passionate about working in is helping people who are stuck in patterns of unhealthy thinking and feeling and behaving that are causing them to keep going back to particular substances. And that might be nicotine and cigarettes. It might be sugar and sweets and cakes and biscuits. It might be cocaine. It might be alcohol. It might be marijuana. It might be opiate-based substances. And I'm just really seeing cocaine being like super popular at the minute. There are so many people who got stuck into coke during the lockdown and can't get out of it. Got stuck in, can't get out. And I'm finding the program that I've created is really helping people. And I've now worked with over 2,000 people who've successfully got out of that jail. And so I'm passionate about teaching it. I'm passionate about helping people with it. And of course, I've got my own story as well. That was a big, long introduction, wasn't it? But I wanted to start off with the good stuff because I'm
that's
8 years.
amazing.
I'm 8 years clean myself.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you. I'm 8 years of freedom and joy and happiness. And I bought a wedding dress and I've got a dog and there's a partner and stuff. And that stuff was just so far from my life. And it's just amazing. I love what I do. I love what I do. It's brilliant.
That's amazing. That's amazing that you can say that you love what you do and that what you're doing is helping people. And that's a huge thing in life, to be doing what you love and enjoying it and helping others. So you said you had your own struggle with addiction. So
yeah,
what?
I mean, so 8 years ago, I was dying. Physically, my body was covered in boils. I had really like fist-sized boils, full of green, stinky pus in my armpits, under my breasts, in my groin. My hair was falling out. I'd gone blind in one eye. I know people look at me and go, really? Really? But that's where I was. My skin was turning yellow. I had seen a doctor out in the Middle East where I was living at the time, who said, you've got about 3 months. This was in the December of that year. You've got about 3 months and you're going to need some serious medical intervention if you survive at all. And I never went back to see that doctor. I just thought they were nuts. Everyone drinks like me. Everyone uses like me. Everyone's a party person. I don't know what you're talking about. I was in complete denial, delusional. I was delusional about where I was. I attempted to do dry January. I don't know if you've heard of dry January.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
I did sneaky drinking. January.
Lie January. You're like,
I
haven't had
January.
anything. I haven't had anything to drink. just sip at a time. It doesn't really count. It's not a full drink. I've only had a shot
Definitely
or
drank
two.
less, but I drank it in the cupboard instead of in public. So I did lie January. I did absolutely smashed out my face February. I did everyone fall out with me. Got no friends, family want nothing to do with me, got no money, looking at death March. And then I did let's go to rehab at end of March. And that's when things really turned around for me. I was able to get help. Thank goodness I was in a really blessed position because rehab is really expensive. And I was able to afford to pay for it, which was just a miracle in itself. I always joke and say I'm a walking miracle, but the way that things just happened, I always think it's miraculous that I'm here with you today, really. I got into rehab, did a summer of sort of rehab from March, April through to the September. But then came the real challenge. How the do you live without
Yeah.
it? What,
It's
how do you manage?
yeah.
How do
What
you
does your life look like?
socialize?
Yeah.
How do you make friends?
How do you
Like,
cope with life? How do you
what do you
cope with
wear?
everything? Yeah.
How do you do banking? TV license? Are you meant to have one of those? What's council
Yeah.
tax?
Yeah.
How's this rent thing go about? Like, just the normal stuff that everybody else seemed to be doing.
Yeah.
I'm in my late 30s and have no idea how to do
Yeah.
any of that stuff. None of it. Don't know. Confused. Lost. And all of the pain that I was numbing out, it was all right there. All of the anxiety that I was numbing out was all right there. Hey, all of the joy and the wonder and the magic and the wonderfulness, the real, authentic, wonderful stuff, that was there too. But it was like this mad, like, life's amazing, life's really shit, life's amazing, life's really shit. Oh no, it's really, really shit. And I don't know what to do with myself. And I can't
Yeah.
cope with all of this exciting joy. And oh, I think there's too many people for me. I don't think I can deal with people. And whoa, how do you live? How do you live? That's what I really
Yeah.
struggled with. And this
It's like
is
learning
where I went. Say
it's like
again.
learning to be a person again. Like
Learning to be a
what is to
person
be a
again.
person again? Yeah, like
Yeah.
learning to be a person because like you were so you're so wrapped up in that like drinking and partying and not giving a single fuck about anything. And then all of a sudden it's hey, I got to wake up. Oh, I got a job now. I got bills to pay. I have anxiety and stress. I didn't have anxiety and stress before because I was too drunk to care about anything, and now
Yeah.
you have to kinda, like, process all that information all at one time, and it's like,
And
"Whoa."
I was angry. I was so angry. I would lose my shit all the time. And it was, I described it to my therapist as like a volcanic eruption. It kind of, I was constantly in a state of frustration and irritation, just
Right.
constantly on
Mm.
high alert, being hyper vigilant, feeling anxious actually.
Yeah.
Um, but then if somebody did something to piss me off, massive explosion, massive explosion. And for years, I'd been a queen of manipulation, playing people off against each other, getting money out of people.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to cope with life. Those were my get away with it coping skills. One of my favorite bands is James, and they sing this song called Getting Away with It All Messed Up. And that is how I lived my entire adult life, just getting away with it, all messed up, just keeping moving. And that's what I did. I changed my job. I would change my job. I would move to a different location, a different country. I did different parts of Spain. I did different parts of Thailand. I did different parts all over the world. Just change location, start again, be all like, woohoo, here I am, sorted and amazing and wonderful. And then, hit the fuck it button and go on a
The
bender
fuck?
and just really mess up. I invented all sorts of illnesses. I told people I
Oh,
had lupus for years. Oh, I've got lupus. I've got lupus. It's an autoimmune condition. It causes me to have awful flare-ups. It's terrible, isn't it? But it meant that then I could be like hanging out my ass, hungover, coming down off something, and
oh.
I'd be like, can't come to work today. I'm having a flare-up.
Mm.
Great, I'll have that autoimmune disease. I
Wow.
think my
You
grandma died about 20 times.
Oh,
Like, it
wow.
was just the lies, the deceit, the shit. And then how do you be with yourself when you've been that person? So when people meet me now, and I'm known as the joyful mind mentor,
Yeah.
they see happy, grounded, bubbly, fun, honest businesswoman,
Yeah.
therapist,
Right.
teacher, and they can't even imagine that I was that person just 8 years ago.
But that's a huge transformation. So, like, what was it like then when you got sober And then what were some of the things that you did to kind of like
Yeah.
start building towards where you're at now? Like, because obviously that doesn't come straight away. You don't,
No,
you know,
definitely not.
you don't get sober and you're like, boom, I know what to do with life. Watch me
No.
fuck it
Early
up. Like,
recovery, I shook. I shook a lot. I did a lot of shaking and a lot of shaking and shitting and vomiting. I think that was what I did.
wow.
And then I did, and then, you know, when I stopped being ill, I shook on the inside
Mm,
emotionally. So the
right.
first thing that I got into doing was meditation.
Okay.
I found there were some amazing meditation techniques that helped really settle my autonomic nervous system, helped to kind of work with my physical body, to help to calm me down and help me to feel more self-centered, more balanced. And I still use these techniques, and a lot of mindfulness as well. Mindfulness helped me to become aware of what it was that I was feeling like. What is this tight, constricting sensation that makes me feel like I want to punch somebody in the face? What is this belly churning sensation that makes me want to run away? I didn't even have the ability to name what I was feeling because I'd been so
Mm,
like numbed out for such a long time. So mindfulness enabled me to, and meditation enabled me to pause and go, hang on a minute, what's this? This is an emotional reaction I'm having. What is it? Where is it? What's it telling me? What is this anger telling me? What do I need to do? Do I need to do nothing, which was most of the time, just do nothing about it because there's nothing I can do. So just let it go. Stop wasting your energy over it. Or do I need to take action and do something? Do I need to speak to someone? Do I need to forgive someone? Do I need to learn something? Do I need to ask for help? Asking for help was always something I really struggled with. Um, but asking for help was something that was really helpful. So meditation and mindfulness, and as a part of that, prayer was really helpful. I'm a massive believer in praying. Now, for some people, that might mean manifesting because you're asking for something. So when you ask for a sense of peace, you're manifesting peace. For me, I use the word prayer. I'm not uncomfortable with that. I feel all right with that word. So praying and meditating became part of my daily life. And I call it my spiritual breakfast because you get up in the morning, don't you? And you put the news on and it's all bloody miserable. And you scroll through Facebook or social media and it's like happy cats playing and dogs doing amusing things and death and destruction. And you go on this like emotional roller coaster of yay, ooh, ooh. And I realized that stuff was just like eating a load of crap at breakfast for my mind. So I put myself on a bit of a diet of the mind and
mm,
gave myself permission to just not access any of that crap in the morning and just to take some time to set my intentions for the day, to pray, to meditate, to learn something new, to feed my mind with something good, and then to feed my body with something good as well. You know, you always have them healthy green drink things in the morning. I needed to have a healthy green drink thing for my brain as well, and having just like habitual good habits. That's something I could just do every single day at the same time, really helped me to just set my mind straight. And then, of course, I had clinical hypnotherapy as well. And that was a massive game changer for me. Um, it was what really healed me, and it's what continues to work for me today to keep me living this really quite blessed magic life that I have right now. So I can tell you about hypnotherapy if you want to know more about hypnosis.
uh, yeah. So I do have some questions about hypnotherapy.
Yeah, bring it on.
All right. So what I was reading was I got a couple different things. One was from Penn Medicine in Pennsylvania, the United States. Was like the top 6 things that people go to hypnotherapists for is insomnia, anxiety, IBS, chronic pain, smoking, and weight loss. Do you find that to be true, or are there some other things as well that you
Like
see a lot of?
right up there, irritable bowel syndrome. There's a whole
Hmm.
heap of meta-analysis and research that suggests that when it comes to things like irritable bowel syndrome, upset tummy things that might have their roots in stress as well. I'm not saying that IBS always does, but it's often worsened by that. The things that work really well right at the top are hypnotherapy, and yoga actually is right up there as well in terms of things that work for IBS. In terms of insomnia is a really interesting one, because sleeping is behavior. We need to sleep, we need to eat, we need to have sex. These are all things that are really like core things that we need in our lives. We need love, we need to reproduce, we need to eat, and we need to sleep. So when we're not sleeping, something's really not going on, something not going well in our lives. So the first thing is to check, like, what's going on with your sleep hygiene. Is it too hot? Is it too cold? Is it too light? Is there too much going on? What's my
Right.
routine like around? Am I watching horror movies just before I go to bed and drinking 47 cups of coffee? Might be what's going on. But if we've kind of eliminated the things in life that might be actually just causing you to not get to sleep, or might be waking you up in the middle of the night, and if it is that you're just having difficulty getting off to sleep, or you're getting off to sleep fine, but you're waking up in the middle of the night or really early in the morning and that's it, and you're not getting a good quality sleep, then we can work really effectively with clinical hypnotherapy. We can retrain your mind and your body to rest and to sleep well. And quite often there is usually something that is keeping you from sleeping, and it might be like an event. Like the last time you went into a really, really deep sleep, somebody cut your belly open and whipped out your gallbladder because you needed an operation. Or it might be that the last time you went into a really, really deep sleep, you got broken into. Or it might be that something's happened to you early in your childhood during the night, like on a kid's holiday. Your best friends thought it would be all hilarious to scare the crap out of you in the middle of the night. Or it might be that you've just got a lot on your mind and there's lots of worries, and you just can't switch your mind off enough to get into that lovely, blissfully relaxed state. So everyone's really different, but we have a real toolbox of things that can help with sleep. Smoking's like the easiest thing to work with in the world.
Yeah.
From hypnotherapy, we tend to only need to have one session with people for smoking. Smoking's usually triggered. You smoke because you're bored. You smoke because you're stressed. You smoke because you like to hold something in your hand. You smoke because you're addicted. And there's usually like there's usually a trigger. We collapse those triggers, and you don't want to smoke anymore. It's really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating because like I looked at some of like the success rates and stuff like that for, like smoking and things. Like, they're super high. Like it's really
Yeah, they
like
are.
it's impressive, but like people would be told to like go to like a patch or a gum or like you try to
Yeah.
wean yourself off. Why not just go straight to a hypnotherapist and get it sorted straight away? Like, I mean, with if you do the research and you look and you see, oh, well, this is like, highly effective. Like, why would you not just go and do that instead of
I mean,
trying all these other things?
our Western medical practitioners want you to get off the cigarettes because there are 4,000 toxic cigarettes in chemicals in a cigarette that are really not very good for you at all. And those 4,000 toxic chemicals, they're around you, and they're on your skin, and they're on your clothes, and when you touch people, you contaminate them. So, our Western medical practitioners want you to just get off them cigarettes any way possible, as quick as possible. So yes, they might want to write you a prescription for that. And there are quite horrific side effects for those prescriptions. And yes, they might want to stick a patch on you. And I'm probably gonna dip into the realm of conspiracy theories here, but there's a lot of money to be made when you're selling nicotine patches. They're not
Yeah.
cheap. And they're cheap to make, and they're always going to be in demand, and they're a pretty good business to get into. And even a switch to a vape is 96% safer than a cigarette. So the majority of Western medical practitioners will just be like, get off them cigarettes now and get onto these other things, because they've got to be better than what you're currently doing. So there's always that drive to make it happen fast and quick. But all of those methods, medications, patches, switching to vapes, they all involve buying into a product. And money does make the world go round. So the people who make patches are going to be sponsoring and paying for things that go on in our medical services. And we just have to face the reality that, working with the power of your mind it's not that profitable. But when you look at the research, it's incredibly effective, more so than
Yeah.
patches.
Yeah, I mean, I was just looking at like some statistics and some numbers, even for things like IBS and stuff. Like, there's actual studies that they've done that
Huge amounts of
it
research.
yeah, yeah. There's weight behind it, like medical weight behind it. It's not like
There is.
yeah, it's not like snake oil. You're not selling people snake oil. It's legit. There's
No,
some science behind it.
and
Like
for things like pain management as well, there's some incredible, a massive amount of research that's been done into using clinical hypnotherapy for pain management, massive amount of research into using hypnotherapy to help people who've got things like cancer. We're not talking about a magic cure for cancer, but we're talking about helping people to go through that cancer journey with more dignity,
yeah,
with pain management techniques. A lot of those in medical interventions that are brilliant. If my leg gets chopped off, don't send me to an aromatherapist. I'd quite like a surgeon. There are some amazing things that Western medicine does. The hypnotherapy quite often just really beautifully sits alongside that in a really lovely integrative way, and can really help people. If you have to have, like, if you've got head cancer and you need to have one of them really tight plastic mask things over you while you're having surgery and you're a bit claustrophobic, not good. If you've got to get in an MRI machine and have, be in a small space with loud noises, it's tough. If
yeah.
you've got to have a lot of injections, it's difficult for you. And hypnotherapy has solutions for all of those challenges. So beautifully integrates and works well with a lot of the things that Western medicine does really, really fantastically. So there's loads of research for all of that out there. Yeah, it's
What
exciting
what
stuff.
what made you get into hypnotherapy? Like, so was it just your journey in recovery? You found hypnotherapy and you
No, do
thought,
you know,
I want to.
I was into hypnotherapy before,
Okay.
um, more as an academic exercise. So my background is in nursing. I
Hmm.
started my nursing career. I was looking after patients who were quadriplegic and ventilated. And a lot of those patients that were paralyzed from the neck down had some pain. You're not supposed to have pain when you've got a broken spine. We called it neurological pain, which basically means you've got pain, but we don't really know why you've got pain, and we don't really understand why you've got pain. And
Yeah.
I had a patient who used to tell me that the pain that he was experiencing felt like somebody was burning him with hot pokers. Now that's horrific.
Yeah.
And
Sounds
so of
horrible.
course we prescribed really, really strong pain medications, opiate based medications,
Right.
um, for those patients. And one day he said to me, when you give me those medications, it just knocks me out. I can still feel the pain. I just can't tell you about it anymore. And I can't
Yeah.
express myself. And I was like, whoa, I can't imagine what it must be like to be off your head on opium and still feeling pain, because opium's
Yeah,
generally quite nice for pain,
I was
and
gonna
still
say.
feeling pain, but just feeling too high to express that you're in pain, but also not being able to move and having to have machines breathe for you. That's a
Yeah,
very scary place. And I thought, you know what, I haven't got into nursing to do this kind of care work. So I we looked into alternative medicine
right.
for the more complex patients that I was working with. And we looked at Reiki, which is universal life force energy. And there
Yep.
was a lady who worked at Barclays Bank who was a Reiki healer. I had no idea what any of that was. It just all sounded like hocus pocus witchcraft to me. And she came, I was like, what's this weirdness? And she put her hands on my patient's head. And I thought, oh, when do what's going on here? This is
Yeah.
weird. But you know
Okay.
what? I saw the discomfort go out of his face. I saw him relax. He drifted into a really blissful sleep and was completely pain-free for a couple of days afterwards. And I was like, what is this? What is this magic? What is this witchcraft? So that got me really interested in the idea of us being energy beings and energy
Mm,
medicine.
okay.
And really from an academic perspective, I also did some training in NLP and worked using some of these hypnotic techniques to help reduce pain whilst I was working as a nurse. So I'd trained in it, I'd studied it, I'd looked into it, I'd researched it. It was all very much an academic thing for me and to help other people. I had never applied any of it to my own life. I went to Buddhist temples in different parts of the world, but on an evening I'd be on a knee smoking marijuana, having a few lines of coke, getting pissed out my head. I was, spiritual and a junkie as well. So I wasn't applying this to my own life, really.
It doesn't seem like those two things kind of like coexist. Like your body is a temple that you fill with vodka. Like those, like
Yeah.
it's
I
how do
don't think
those
I've got
two?
the body as a temple thing. I was just all about it's an amazing experience. Let's experience everything. And
Let's
I was
experience.
on that whole hippie travel around the world, get wasted and learn new things and expand my mind. I just, took it too far. I made my
Okay.
mind smaller. I made my world smaller,
Yeah.
very much smaller, and nearly lost my life. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Terrifying.
it
But
all
now here
started off
you
as
are.
fun and games.
Well, at least you found your way back to recovery.
Yeah,
So with your hypnotherapy, what do you see it used for in people with addiction? You mentioned earlier that you do a lot with people in addiction.
yeah.
What are some of the typical things that come to you that you've worked with?
Well, at the moment, I'm seeing loads of people who are struggling with cocaine. I work a lot with
Okay.
people who struggle with alcohol. Alcohol and cocaine seem to be the most popular, and those tend to go together as well. Um,
Okay.
People who smoke marijuana tend to only come and see me when they want to stop smoking cigarettes, and they might want to stop smoking marijuana so much. But it's the people whose lives are impacted by what they're doing in a really, really negative way. It's when
Right.
it starts to hurt you financially. It's when it starts to hurt the people in your life. It's when it starts to break down your ability to do things effectively, like have a job, do the things that you love or take care of the things that are important in your life. And it's when that happens that I tend to see people. So it's more alcohol and cocaine that I tend to work with, and there are kind of some central things that I've noticed with people who misuse all substances, and I think this just transcends to all walks of life as well. And I think the first thing is that People really struggle to be themselves. We talk about being authentic as being a really important thing. It's really difficult to be authentic if you do not feel safe being you. And a lot of people don't feel safe to be themselves. If they step out of that kind of hidden away space, or if they don't feel safe because they grew up being bullied, or they don't feel safe because they never got to explore the world and things were very restricted. But if you don't feel safe, it's very difficult to be you. If you don't know who you are, it's very
Yeah.
difficult to be you. And if you've never been loved, or if you struggle to receive love because you don't feel you deserve it, it's very difficult to be you, to be authentic. And if you don't know where you fit into the world, in your social group, in your society, in your community, it's very difficult to be you. We talk about resilience being a really important thing as well. And I see people who've had to survive. So I see strategies that are not being effectively used. So people who've been dealers, and people who've been in long-term addictions quite often end up dealing just to pay for whatever it is that they're using. But people who've been dealers make excellent business people. People who've been junkies make great therapists, or great people who liked amphetamines and cocaine make really good conversationalists. there are certain things and strategies that we all have within us, but a lot of us just don't know how to roll out those strategies in times of difficulty. So when we're confronted, or when we're in difficult situation, we don't know what to do. So resiliency is about being able to bounce back quickly, but it's about knowing how to bounce back quickly. And if we don't feel safe, and if we don't know ourselves, and we're not feeling loved, and we're not connected to ourselves or the community that we're in, it's very difficult to have that resiliency. And I think the third kind of central feature that I see with all kind of substance use is a lack of ability to be vulnerable. And we talk about vulnerability and being vulnerable as almost like a negative thing. But if somebody has got their walls up, and I say, "God, you look beautiful today," that compliment is not received. They go, "Ping, ping, no, I don't. No, I don't. I look ugly. I feel disgusting. I hate myself." So their walls are up. They're not open. When there needs to be a certain level of openness, there needs to be a certain level of vulnerability. You need to be willing to be hurt to receive that beautiful compliment of "you're beautiful." You need to be willing to be hurt. There needs to be some level of vulnerability for you to receive love. There needs to be some vulnerability to get to know yourself and explore who you are. There needs to be some level of vulnerability. And I think to have that vulnerability, you need to have felt nurtured and safe as you're developing. And I see those kind of three features in nearly everyone that I work with. There's something not right there. And then if we look at what cocaine gives us, for example, cocaine gives you a massive confidence boost. You feel great. So if you've got low self-esteem, if you've got low self-worth, if you don't have a clue who you are or whereabouts you fit into your society, but you long to be respected, loved, looked up to, you have a line of coke, all of that, it's fantasy, it's bullshit, but you feel like you are the king of the castle. You feel, I'm an interesting person now. I can talk to anyone. You feel confident.
Dopamine.
The dopamine, it's right there, isn't it? But it's
It
fake,
just
it's
dumps.
bullshit. But
Well, yeah.
oh my God, if you can't get that in life naturally, but you can have it
Mm.
on a Saturday night with a line of coke, that Saturday night's going to become a Sunday night and a Monday night and a Tuesday night because it
Yeah.
feels really good. And I think what hypnotherapy does is it recognizes that there's an emotional need for what you're using and reusing. If there wasn't a need for it, you would maybe take it and then leave it. Well, I've had a go at
Yeah.
that. Not interested now. I've grown out of it. I've had a little dabble. I'm not interested. And I think this is the reason why some people can have a line of Coke and never again, and some people can have a couple of drinks and then put it down. I was just think like, what are you doing? You're having a glass of wine and you've left a bit in the bottom of your glass. What's that all about? And you've got to drink it all, and
Yeah.
have everyone else's as well,
Yeah.
and don't leave anything. It's a waste. And alcohol gives you this incredible sense of connection. It's a warm, fuzzy feeling. It helps you to connect with other people. I know loads of people are, there's no way I'm going to get on that dance floor until I've had a few drinks. I'm not comfortable in my own skin. There's no way I'm talking to that person until I've had a few drinks. I'm not confident to speak to other people. Alcohol is a connector drug. It connects you to yourself. It brings about feelings of self-connection and self-love, and it brings about the ability to go connect with others, which means you can get to know yourself and explore and learn. And that's a really alluring substance. And all of the substances, be it sugar, marijuana, caffeine, whatever, they all have qualities about them that give you something. When we can work out what it is that our clients, that are people who are taken care of, who we're working with, when we can work out what it is that they're getting from the substance, and we can bring that to their life in a beautiful, natural, wholesome way, we can help them to feel comfortable in their own skin. We can help them to have some strategies to deal with stress, anxiety, difficulty, overwhelm. We can help them to be open, to break down those barriers so they can connect with other people, so they can be open to receive love. When we can do that, that's when we can have full, complete, holistic healing. That's where we can get complete recovery. And that's where we can also learn how to live and learn, because we can become curious about life. We can become mad scientists and experimenters and just have a go at things and not feel crippled and worried by failings. We can become excited about life again. And I think that's real recovery, and that's sort of long-term recovery. And hypnotherapy brings about an awareness of what people need to do for themselves. So it's a really empowering process as well, which I think a lot of therapy is about guiding people to the solutions. Hypnotherapy is about helping the client to find what's right for them. And I think that's a really beautiful, empowering process.
So I have a
Yeah.
question. So, all
Yeah.
right. So the people that come in for like the addiction and stuff like that,
Mm.
do they also do like, would they be doing a 12-step program or anything other than
Yeah.
the hypnotherapy? So they can,
I mean,
it's helpful in both. Mhm.
they can be doing anything they like. Because I
Except
think
for
that
except for
real
drinking and drugs, right?
recovery, except from taking the drugs, real
Yeah.
recovery is about, it's like sticking on a Velcro suit. I'll have a bit of meditation. I'll do a bit of exercise. I'll go for a walk in the countryside. I might do a 12-step program. I might read a book. There's loads of things that we can do. It's not there's not one answer. Everybody will find their own thing. I know people who love getting in the gym and doing like a real high intensity workout. Yeah, not for me. I prefer lying on the floor with a nice relaxation. That's more my style. But that's not going to do it for them. So everybody, people tend to know themselves well enough to know what works. 12-step programs have got some great things. I mean, it's everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Every country in the world, you can find a meeting everywhere, and you'll find your tribe in that meeting. There'll be people in there who understand. There'll be people in there who've messed up in the same way that you've messed up. And sometimes it's just good to be around people who we can connect with and understand. And that's really important. We are tribal beings. We need community. And I do think that sometimes substances have, or misuse of substances have taken away so much from us that we might just be really isolated and by ourselves. And that might be a great way to establish a supportive community of people around you. It's a great starting point. I think there are drawbacks. Obviously, the statistics would suggest there are quite major drawbacks to 12-step programs, but I think the steps themselves have got some really beautiful healing parts to them. And the idea of handing it over to a higher power, I think, can be sometimes like really challenging for people. It's like
Yeah.
it's like a foreign language. It's too religious. It doesn't really work for them.
Yeah.
Um, is that something
That's
that you
my
resonate with?
yeah, yeah, I don't I got sober just for me. I did it,
Yeah,
on my own. I didn't go to a 12-step. I hated the idea of a 12-step program. I do think that it's great for the people that it works for, but for me personally, I couldn't go that route. But I mean, thankfully that they're around because they help, millions and millions of people all across the world.
yeah,
So it's good because it recovery isn't like one size fits all, and people do different
definitely
things,
not.
and you find kind of like your own, like you said, like the gym is good for one person, might not be good for another person, so it is kind of like a mix and match of what works, right? So yeah,
Mm.
the overly
I
religious
think
thing,
take for
not for
you
me.
what you want. And I mean, you don't have to take, everything that you hear if you go to
Mm,
a recovery group. You don't need to listen to every word and take it all on board. I think just being around some people who are, going through the same stuff as you might get some really good advice. If you're given that piece of advice and you go, yeah, that sounds good to me, that's probably a good idea for you to follow. If you listen to
yeah,
something and you go, no, that doesn't feel good for me at all, maybe no is actually what's right for you. But I
yeah,
think when you've been struggling with substance misuse for a really long time, you would quite often you lose trust in your own
yeah,
ability to choose what's right for you. And I think that's the challenge. And that's where working with someone like a clinical hypnotherapist can really help you to connect with what is true for you, what is helpful for you, and just having that extra person to go, I've been thinking about doing some Kundalini yoga. I've been thinking about getting into doing some aromatherapy. I've been thinking about joining a walking group, or I've been thinking about joining a prayer group or going to a church. What do you think? Like, it feels good to me. Or somebody said this to me at a 12-step meeting and it just really freaked me out. Okay, well, let's talk about that as well. I think having somebody who's going to really support you with your emotions, I think is great. It doesn't have to be a hypnotherapist. That could be a counselor or a psychotherapist. I think the key is don't do it on your own. Get some
yeah,
mates.
yeah.
Have somebody around you. James, you did it by yourself. Did you have support from other people?
I mean, I did have support from friends, and when I told everybody that I was gonna get sober and I was done drinking, and I was really nervous about telling people that. But it worked out that everybody supported me. I got lucky enough that I had a friend um, that lived near me that he got sober at the same time, and he went like balls to the wall, and he created this entire like recovery group, and I kind of like dove
Wow,
into that, which was cool because like I knew him, we were friends.
you got a tribe.
Yeah, and we just started doing like all this recovery stuff together. So it was kind of like a thing for me for a while. And in the States, it's a lot different. Like there's a lot of like recovery grassroots groups that you can just join and kind of like do community projects. We did like community service, or we cleaned up some parks and rebuilt some playgrounds, and then I did some speaking at like high schools, telling
Yeah,
my
I
story,
planted
being
some trees and did some litter picking.
yeah, I mean, it's good. It's good for the soul. It helps people.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
think I tell people like my toughest audience I ever spoke in front of was a group of like 10th grade, like 15, 16-year-old kids, and telling them,
Yeah.
that, hey, hi, I'm 32. I fucked up my life, please don't do
Don't
it.
do
Don't do
this.
what yeah, don't do me. Do something
Yeah.
else. But like,
I think if
I
we could teach those 14 and 15-year-olds to recognize that the emotions that they feel will be eased, will be, that lack of confidence that they feel, they're going to get a fake lack of confidence if they take
mm,
coke, and not only are they going to get a fake lack of confidence, a fake boost of confidence, it's going to rewire their brain to want
yeah,
more. And it's the health damage, the long-term health is horrific, and you might die.
yeah,
So
yeah,
if you're lacking in confidence, do some exercise. If you're lacking in confidence, do some mindfulness. If you're lacking in confidence, read something inspirational. Go hang out with people who build you up, who will support you, who'll be your cheerleaders. Find that good tribe of people around you. I think would be so much better advice. Get to know yourself, learn how to love yourself, learn what your body needs to feel good. I think all of those things would be so much more valuable than just pushing them into a place where, go and stand in that toilet cubicle and snort a line of powder off the back of the toilet seat, and you'll just get all of that. It'll be fake bullshit and it could kill you, but you'll feel better instantly. It'll be better to teach people something about how they
yeah.
can take care of themselves, really take care of themselves.
Absolutely agree with that. So I have listen, I wanted to read this out to you because this is from the recoveryvillage.com, and it said one study of participants who received hypnotherapy, 90% completed the treatment within 6 months. 100% of those were still off drugs, and 78% remain abstained at least to the 2-year mark. Do you find that's pretty accurate with hypnotherapy and addiction? Like that's pretty, I mean, that's 78% at the 2-year mark. That's a high percentage
Yeah,
of
it really
people
is. When you think
to
that the
stay clean.
methadone has a 1% success rate after 4 years, it kind of knocks spots off some of the programs that are out there, really. Yeah, I mean, I'm really blessed to see real transformation in people's lives. And it's sustained transformation, but that's because we're dealing with that underlying stuff. That's because we're dealing with the emotions, and we're working on strategies
Yeah.
to live. That's what we're focusing on. We're focusing on strategies that will help people to live well, and that's very different from the you're a bad person, stop doing this, stop doing that, stop thinking these things that are kind of currently out there. You're an immoral person, or you must have had a violent upbringing, or there's something wrong with you. All of those stories just add to the destruction that goes on in your mind anyway.
Mm.
Hypnotherapy is the whole process is about healing and building you up and looking at solutions to help you. And I think that's why it works so well.
Yeah.
They're great statistics, by the way. I like to have
Yeah.
I like hearing those good statistics, because it's certainly
Uh,
what I see in my therapy room.
I mean, that's to me, I read that and I just thought, wow, that's super impressive. Like, why is that not being pushed more to people with addiction and recovery? Like, why isn't that being offered more? Like, I guess it's
Why is rehab so expensive? Why is there very few services available for anyone with addictions? Why aren't we talking about these things more openly? Why is there no support for friends and family or employers who are struggling
yeah,
with people in addiction? Like, why? We could go on for a long time with that why. But
I
it's
know.
people like yourself, James, that are taking a step up and talking about it and having these really important conversations and saying, there are options, there are stuff out there. Go do your research, go Google it, go look at what's available. Put on your Velcro suit, have a bit of this, have a bit of that, give that a go. You'll find something that'll work for you. And be hopeful that change transformation, total holistic mind and body healing is absolutely possible. And there are just a few real key things that you can do that are really achievable, really doable things that can really make a massive difference in your life. And you know, a couple of sessions with a hypnotherapist might just really narrow it down to, this is what I need to do for me. And I think that's what hypnotherapy does.
That's amazing. Honestly, I've really enjoyed this conversation because I think it's like you were just saying, like conversations need to be had, especially with addiction and recovery, and there needs to be viable options for people, because like I said, it's not one size fits all, and everybody doesn't recover the same as everybody else. And like you said, the Velcro suit, like we need to try different bits and bobs to see what works and see what can really, because people struggle, they relapse, they go back, they have
Yeah.
these things, and it's like
Mm.
maybe if you just come in and take a couple hypnotherapy sessions, maybe that relapse won't happen, or maybe just things that you can do, like tools in the toolbox, to
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
use. I mean, I was intrigued when you messaged me to begin with. I thought hypnotherapy, the only thing I know about hypnotherapy is that people do it to stop smoking. So I was just fascinated to go through some of the background and the real statistics behind some of the things that it's doing right now. And I
Yeah.
thought, wow, I'd even be interested in trying to have a hypnotherapy session just to just for me, just to see, maybe it can help me with some things, some anxiety or depression, or things that I struggle with in life. Because, like you said, once you get sober, I mean, all that real life shit I have to deal with on a day-to-day basis.
That's
I'm a
right.
father, I'm a husband, I have all these hats that I wear, and I'm stressed, and I have these moments where life is hard.
Mm. Mm.
But yeah, having hypnotherapy is like a tool in the toolbox. I could just come and do, a session and just
Yeah.
see how I get on with it. And so I
And I
just
think
think,
a good hypnotherapist will leave you with that tool. A good hypnotherapist will leave you with that technique so that you
mm,
can take that home with you and
yeah,
use it yourself. So the majority of the people that I work with, after they've had a session with me, they will then be able to go home. They'll be able to take some tools or techniques home with them, and they've got a bit of a go-to if they're having a bad day. And that's really helpful as well, those go-to techniques. And I think the majority of people, and hypnotherapy is not new. Like, it's not some kind of new, and it's not magic. It's very science-based. We can see what's happening in the brain. We know why it works. It lights up the parts of the brain that process trauma, that help you to feel good, that reduce pain. It turns down the fight or flight responses. It helps you to tell yourself, or to change the story that you're telling yourself in your mind. It can replace it for more positive stories that are going to direct your life in a more positive way. And it's been around in this country since, 1800s, a long time. And it's been around, historically, right back into, as far as time, because it's
mm,
a natural state. It's a natural state of awareness. It's not a
mm,
magic state. It's a natural state of awareness. It's a state of feeling very calm, very relaxed, which is nice. It's a
yeah,
state where you are very much in control, and it's a state where you can really reflect and go inward, and discover the solutions for yourself. It's a very empowering process, and it's been around forever. So incredible
mm,
tool
yeah,
you can have in your
very,
toolbox.
yeah, very cool stuff. Is there anything else before we wrap things up that you would like to talk about? Anything you have coming up, or any teaching that you're doing, or
Well,
anything you're really excited about?
we've got some. We've always got exciting and fantastic things going on. I give a free hypno talk on Thursdays. If you follow us, you'll see when our next one is. I usually give 2 free talks a month. You can come along and find out about how to manage stress, and I do a little taster session as a part of that, so you can come and have an experience of some hypnotherapy. So check out our social media pages and you can find the links to come and join us on a call a bit like this, where I'll talk a little bit about hypnotherapy. We always do this on a Thursday. Our next intake for training, if you want to come and train in this, and anyone can train, anyone who actually wants to make a difference in people's lives. If you it's funny, so many people that have been through addiction get really passionate about helping other people as well. It's it's a kind of, I've felt really broken and now I want to help other people. It's a great job, counseling and psychotherapy and hypnotherapy. There's a lot of recovered people in the industry, so you're welcome to come and join us. And we have a foundation course running in January, and I think we have one in April as well. And our foundation is come and dip your toe in the water, see if it's for you, see if you want to learn with us. And then if you love it, if you like the resources, if you like the way we teach, if you think it's something that you are going to fall in love with and want to do, you can come and join us on our practitioner diploma, which it's a full year of training, the practitioner diploma, and it's quite intense. Because you're learning a whole new skill, and at the end of that you can go work with people, but we support you, and there's loads of practice, and I'm very much an interactive learner. I like to learn hands-on, so you read about it, you watch it, you listen it, you do it, you experience it lots of times before you go out and help people. But it's just a beautiful, abundant life. It's a great way of helping people, and helping yourself to have just an amazing life. Like 8 years ago, I had a suitcase with 60 kilos in, a pair of grotty Crocs that I'd traveled the world in, and a few rocks I'd dug out of the desert, and that was about all I owned in the world. And in a space of 8 years, as a result of recovering and learning this myself, and actually becoming a teacher of it, I have just the most amazing life. And like I say, I bought a wedding dress last week. It's definitely a beautiful world. So if you think you might want to learn, come and jump on the website and take a look, and you can always jump on a call with me and ask me questions. I like answering questions. So yeah, I got some great courses coming up. 2024 is going to be amazing. We're also rolling out suicide prevention next year, counseling skills as well, and we have some amazing little masterclasses as well, mind, body and soul. All of the elements. It's a great school. I love what I do.
Amanda, you sound like you are a busy lady. I mean, really, that's great. Wow.
I have an
2024 is going to
amazing
be a big year
team.
for you. Yeah.
I have an amazing team of people who teach and nurture and teach meditation and teach body work. I'm certainly not I'm definitely a cog in a beautiful machine of gorgeous people who are all training and helping people to serve in their communities. It's great.
Do you want to give anybody the social media? Do you have your social
It's
media
just
link?
the Northern College of Clinical Hypnotherapy. I guess if you Google us, you'll find us.
Yep.
And I'm
I'll
Amanda
attach
Joy,
I'll
Joy from my mentor.
I'll I'll attach all the stuff that you sent me earlier in the
Thank you.
bio to
That's
this
really
and stuff. So
kind.
we'll attach the links. So if anybody's interested in checking out some hypnotherapy, some classes, some courses, or just are very interested in, just take a look, just see what it's about. Yeah.
Yeah, just neat if you just want to chat. If you're struggling, and you want to experience some hypnosis or just talk about it, please do reach out. It's the hardest thing,
Yeah.
asking for help. It could be the thing that you do that, like in my life, that made all the difference. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
All right,
life
Amanda,
can be
thank you for coming on the show. I will let you know when this is going to come out. So
Thank
we'll
you so
wrap things
much
up.
for having me.
Thank you.